The forest was almost silent, as if the trees themselves were holding their breath. Only the wet sound of tearing flesh broke the stillness. A massive werewolf knelt in a bed of crushed leaves, its fur matted with blood that was not its own. The creature ripped another chunk from the man beneath it, the victim's lifeless body twitching only from the force of each violent pull. Bone cracked. Skin tore. The monster fed with an old and primal hunger. Steam rose from the warm entrails in the cold night air. The werewolf's claws sank deep into the man's ribs as it dragged them apart like it was opening a stubborn door. Its muzzle dipped low, teeth sinking into organs with a wet crunch. While the creature fed loudly and fearlessly, far beyond the brush line, perched motionless on a fallen log, a predator watched. Cloaked in full camouflage, the alien hunter was nearly invisible. Only the faint shimmer of bent light hinted at its shape. It had been tracking the werewolf for almost 1 hour, following its sprint through the trees, observing the efficiency of the chase, the kill, and the feeding. The predator recorded every movement, every growl, every drop of blood. Its mask analyzed the beast's musculature, its speed, its strength, its feeding habits. The werewolf was rare, dangerous, worthy prey. But as the predator zoomed in its vision scanners for a closer reading, the werewolf suddenly froze mid-bite. Its ears twitched. Its nostrils flared. It lifted its head slowly from the corpse, its muzzle dripping red. A deep growl rumbled through its chest. The predator did not move. The werewolf turned sharply, staring directly at the cloaked hunter. Not at the shimmer. Not at the distortion. Not at the outline. It stared directly into the predator's masked eyes. The predator tilted its head, confused. How could this creature see it? The werewolf stood at its full height of 7.5 feet, blood soaking its jaws and claws. It smiled, exposing long, sharp fangs. The predator's mandibles twitched in response. The trees stood silent as both apex hunters faced one another across the clearing. The predator unclamped his mask. The device hissed as he ripped it free and dropped it to the ground. His mandibles spread wide in a snarling challenge. He stripped off his armor, his shoulder guards, his plasma caster, and every piece of protection until only his skin and scars remained. He wanted a true fight. One without technology. Above him, maybe 30 or 40 feet high in a swaying branch, he had been perched. Now he bent his knees and leapt. He dropped through the cold night air like a stone and landed with a thunderous crack that shook loose leaves from nearby branches. Dirt exploded outward. The ground dented beneath him. A heartbeat later, the werewolf launched. It charged with explosive speed, a blur of fur and muscle closing the clearing in an instant. The predator activated both wrist gauntlets. Each produced 2 curved blades that extended with a loud metallic snap. The werewolf crashed into him with enough power to flatten a tree. The predator dug his heels into the earth, muscles bulging, absorbing the impact. Claws ripped across his chest, drawing glowing neon green blood. He didn't fall. He struck back. His right arm shot upward, wrist blades carving deep into the werewolf's shoulder. Crimson red blood sprayed from the wound. The werewolf howled but did not slow. It slashed again. The predator ducked, the slash cutting clean through a pine trunk behind him. He countered. A brutal uppercut snapped the werewolf's head back, spraying blood. The creature staggered, but held its ground. It attacked again. The predator caught the next swipe. Both hunters pushed against each other, strength meeting strength. The werewolf lunged to bite. The predator jerked aside, but its teeth grazed his shoulder, tearing open a glowing green gash. He roared and slammed his forehead into the beast's skull with a violent crack. The werewolf stumbled. The predator grabbed its throat and lifted it off the ground with a single arm. Claws tore new wounds into his torso. He threw the beast, hurling it across the clearing. It smashed into a boulder, shattering stone. The werewolf rose to its feet slowly, angrily, blood dripping from its torn mouth. It smiled again. Both hunters froze for a brief moment. Then the werewolf lunged. But this time the predator was ready. He stepped aside at the perfect moment. As the werewolf flew past him, He dragged both wrist blades upward along the creature's back, one blade on each side of its spine. The metal tore through fur, flesh, and bone from the base of its waist all the way to the back of its skull. Blood erupted in heavy sprays. The werewolf fell to its knees. The predator grabbed the exposed spine with his left hand, planted his foot on the creature's lower back, and pulled with all of his strength. The sound was sickening. The entire spine ripped free from the werewolf's back. Its head remained attached, dangling lifelessly at the end of the blood-soaked vertebrae. The predator lifted the trophy and let out a roar that shook the forest. He admired the head and spine, looking at the long, dripping column of bone and the cracked muzzle. The victory tasted sweet. Then his knees buckled. The trophy dropped from his hand. The world tilted. The predator collapsed unconscious to the forest floor. Almost 1 hour later, he awoke, convulsing violently. His claws dug into the dirt as his body spasmed. His bones burned. His vision swam. Something was happening to him. Something he could not stop. His legs cracked and shifted, joints bending into a canine structure. Dark werewolf fur erupted from his thighs and shins. His hands curled and then snapped open as 5-inch claws burst through each fingertip, spraying neon green blood. His chest widened. Ribs cracked and expanded. Muscles grew thicker and twitched under the skin. Fur spread across his torso. His face stretched. Mandibles snapped outward. His skull cracked as a wolf muzzle pushed forward, filled with jagged teeth, but his predator mandibles remained, flaring on both sides of the new snout. His ears elongated into tall wolf-like shapes. His dreadlocks thickened, fur growing between their roots. He rose slowly to his feet, breathing heavy, steam rising from his mouth. He felt stronger than ever, smarter, more primal, more calculating. The perfect blend of predator intelligence and werewolf savagery. He looked at his claws, at his new legs, at the fur spreading across his chest. He wasn't horrified. He was pleased. Then the trees began to vibrate. A deep hum filled the air. Above him, his clan's mothership decloaked, shimmering into view. Massive, triangular, ancient. Its lights pulsed with warning patterns. The landing ramp began to lower. He stared up at it. His mandibles clicked into a slow, devious smile. He had always wanted to be a clan leader. Now, with this new body, this new power, this perfect hybrid form, he finally had the strength to take it. He tightened his claws and walked toward the ship. Tonight, he would hunt his own,